The village's board of trustees after multiple members did not attend tonight's meeting.
This time, there are more than just whispers or speculations going on behind closed doors as Tiffany Henyard's world comes apart. Whether it is karma or a deliberate attempt to dethrone her, it is obvious that her days of acting invincible are coming to an end. The self-proclaimed queen of Dalton Henyard's hold on power has now become a contentious spectacle, with scandals seemingly following her at every turn. The explosive footage, which was allegedly leaked by her own team, has further plunged her already troubled political career into even greater turmoil. After a Board of Trustees meeting was called off due to low attendance, Henyard made crucial decisions that caught the town off guard. Without the trustees present, she boldly appointed a new village administrator and made numerous attorney appointments, which, in keeping with form, escalated the crisis. Saw as a tactic to avoid criticism and protect her waning authority, others would call this defiant. The community took notice of the careless leadership style, noting that Dalton's iron grasp appeared to be eroding daily. The Illinois Attorney General's office swiftly condemned him for repeatedly breaking the Open Meetings Act twice in June and July and announced an investigation into the Henyard's administration. In their annoyance, locals have become more outspoken, accusing Henyard of managing the village like a high-security facility. Public meetings at Fortress are now held behind closed doors, and many residents of Dalton feel left out of the very procedures that are supposed to represent them. The sarcastic letter that Henyard sent to her mother's home in order to justify these extreme security measures was written in. Although it was a cruel and unprofessional act, the letter barely constituted a credible threat, but Henyard and her administration used it as justification to increase security around Village Hall, giving some the impression that these measures are more about control than safety. Blue Mark is calling Henyard and her mother losers. Critics contend that Henyard's use of security concerns is only a flimsy attempt to hide her rising anxiety, and that her disarray inside Dalton's administration is getting out of hand, with locals becoming more and more irate due to the instability surrounding Henyard leadership. Less than 20 people attended recent public meetings that Henyard claimed were important announcements. Rather than taking a step back and reevaluating, Henyard appears intent on delving even deeper into the drama. Her most recent controversial move is the appointment of a new village administrator and attorney, who appear to be more concerned with consolidating her power than with solving the town's problems. This lack of public interest reflects the growing fatigue with Henyard's antics, as many feel she prioritized a spectacle over substantive governance. Of a plan to supplant anyone who might oppose her with supporters who will support her precarious government. Her administration's selection of Keith Freeman as a pivotal player has drawn criticism. Freeman's former right-hand guy is said to be privy to all of her secrets and was allegedly brought back to serve as a buffer against increasing political and legal pressure. Henyard's reorganization of her inner circle may be an effort to give herself a fresh start, but detractors view it as little more than a last-ditch effort to hold onto power as her supporters are and the walls shut. What's even stranger is Henyard's unwavering defiance. Henyard has redoubled her controversial approach to governance in the face of growing legal and public pressure, even after the Attorney General's office condemned Dalton for flagrant violations of transparency laws. Instead of adopting a more cautious approach, she continues to alienate the public by adopting a style of leadership that leaves little room for collaboration or trust. Dalton residents, who had hoped that Henyard's leadership would bring about change, are now dealing with the fallout from her increasingly erratic behavior, and the town is still embroiled in financial and administrative turmoil due to allegations of taxpayer corruption. Finances the continuous legal battles, and now that shocking video has surfaced from inside her own camp, Henyard's reign has been tainted by scandal at every turn. Her acts are indicative of a leader in free movements. Fall is making increasingly dramatic and contentious decisions in an attempt to rally support, but the public and legal unrest that is mounting and could end her reign quickly overshadows these premeditated actions. Her one firm hold on power is obviously eroding quickly. but it is unclear if she will be able to withstand the increasing strain or if Dalton's residents will demand a change.
Please notice to the public. Certainly notice to the mayor. You know what that is?
Tiffany Henyard's once dominant hold on power is still eroding due to scandals, dubious decisions, and internal betrayals. Her leadership in Dalton, which was once widely supported, has drastically declined, and her desperate attempts to keep control have raised more eyebrows than genuine support. Her attempts to push through last-minute appointments to consolidate power have only exacerbated the chaos, with interim mayor Jason House declaring these decisions invalid, further undermining her already precarious position. Henyard doubled down, accusing her critics of fabricating drama and even claiming that some audience members were plants. But the cracks in her control are evident as her inner circle continues to shrink and former allies like Keith Freeman find themselves caught in the disintegration of her administration. Freeman, who was once a trusted confidant and village administrator, is now embroiled in controversy and legal peril because of his relationship with Henyard. He claimed that the lack of a quorum at the meeting meant that all actions taken were illegal, despite Henyard's insistence. Henyard allegedly attempted to terminate Freeman after believing that he was betraying her, causing a dramatic fallout between the two individuals whose collaboration had once characterized her leadership, as allegations surfaced that he might be working with the FBI. Freeman's own legal issues, which include claims of unlawful retaliation against employees he allegedly fired for not supporting Henyard, further exacerbated this betrayal. Freeman is also facing a federal indictment for bankruptcy fraud, where he is accused of hiding assets and falsifying his income despite their shared past. Despite breaking the law, Henyard quickly distanced herself from Freeman in an effort to break off relations before their association might further damage her already vulnerable position. Freeman's legal issues have become a point of contention. In addition to lawsuits alleging retaliatory firings in both Dalton and Thorne Township, he has faced mounting criticism from within the administration due to allegations of misconduct that hampered township operations. Nevertheless, when Henyard tried to remove Freeman from his position within the township, trustee Chris Gonzalez discovered that no formal evidence supporting Freeman's termination or promotion had been provided, rendering any such action illegal. Even though Freeman had been loyal to Henyard's over the years, he was fired as soon as he became a liability, further highlighting Henyard's increasingly isolated position. The spectacle of Freeman's bankruptcy fraud charges and his alleged attempts to conceal assets has already caused Henyard's more embarrassment. Gonzalez made it clear that any legitimate personnel changes would require board approval, adding to the perception of Henyard's disorganized and overreaching governance. As federal investigators close in, Henyard's fragile hold on power continues to unravel, and her actions increasingly seem driven by a mixture of desperation and denial as she attempts to reshuffle her administration and tighten control. Her high-profile stunts, like bolstering security at Village Hall over a sarcastic letter, have done little to inspire confidence. The letter, which was deemed a weak excuse for her extreme security measures, symbolized the paranoia consuming her and the growing disconnect between her and the community she once claimed to champion. To backfire and worsen Dalton's already unstable political environment by separating herself from Freeman Henyard. She probably did this to avoid further scrutiny of her own involvement in his wrongdoing and to shield herself from the fallout from his growing legal problems. But her failure to win the support of the Board of Trustees or keep the loyalty of her closest supporters has left her appearing weak and disorganized. Freeman's downfall, rather than drawing attention away from Henyard, has only strengthened the public's perception of a leadership enmeshed in controversy and self-preservation. As Dalton faces an uncertain future, its citizens must deal with the fallout from an administration beset by corruption, scandal, and internal strife. Henyard, who was once a leader, is now more isolated than ever as political and legal pressures increase. Her allies, such as Freeman, have been tarnished by scandal and internal disintegration, which threatens to split her remaining support. This makes the storm seem more futile. but it's still unclear if she can withstand this most recent round of difficulties or if her turbulent tenure will soon come to an end.
She says that she was fired for not being a yes.
Tiffany Henderson's once firm hold on power is quickly eroding as scandals, dubious choices, and internal betrayals continue to plague her leadership in Dalton and Thornton Township. Although Henderson has done everything she can to keep control, from trying to break off relations with former allies to using dubious legal strategies, the cracks in her administration are becoming more noticeable. One of the most obvious manifestations of her increasing instability has been the power struggle between Keith Freeman and Henyard. Hand's constant attempts to break up their relationship have not stopped the village administrator from defending his position in spite of Henyard's efforts to ally him with Freeman. To effectively serve as the village administrator, despite Henyard's attempts to fire him. In contrast to the several employees she has fired in the past, Freeman seems to have found safer footing, maybe as a result of growing proof of Henyard's dubious actions. In spite of his tense relationship with Henyard, Freeman's continued employment in the administration raises the possibility that he may have something valuable, perhaps proof of Henyard's alleged corruption, which has made him a powerful figure in this developing drama. To make matters worse, 3 former employees have sued Henyard, accusing her of wrongful termination. These legal disputes threaten to further damage her reputation. Already brittle leadership amidst the rising legal difficulties according to circulating allegations, Freeman might be collaborating with federal authorities and may have tangible proof of Henyard's purported malfeasance. This conjecture has led many to assume that Hand's desire to fire Freeman is motivated by fear that his collaboration with authorities may reveal the entire scope of her wrongdoings, rather than by his poor work performance or lack of rebellion. Henyard allegedly made a hasty attempt to sideline Freeman, but her intentions were thwarted when the Board of Trustees reaffirmed its backing for him. Henyard is now at a disadvantage due to Freeman's ongoing involvement in the administration. Not being able to completely restore control of a situation that is spiraling beyond her control, the conflict between Freeman and Henyard escalated at a recent meeting when Henyard tried to replace important positions without the necessary board approval. This contentious action was widely denounced as yet another desperate attempt by Henyard to consolidate power amid a decline in power, with Freeman holding onto this position for the time being. The power struggle within the administration is still going strong, and the Board of Trustees has mostly supported Freeman in his resistance to Henyard's unilateral decisions. Due to this impasse, Freeman is now in an unexpectedly advantageous position. Despite the increasing pressure and her mounting opposition, Henyard has not given in. She recently showed her defiance by holding a town meeting as though the absence of the Board of Trustees was inconsequential. This unilateral approach to governance is similar to previous instances in which Henyard seemed to disregard standard protocols and procedures, sidelining checks and balances within her administration. This is especially true given rumors that he may be working with federal authorities. Should Freeman actually have proof of Henyard's misconduct, his continued role in the administration could prove to be a serious threat to her already deteriorating authority. Being viewed as an endangered leader who is desperate to hold onto power by any means possible, thereby escalating the sense of annoyance among board residents and legal observers. The Henyard, throughout your tenure as mayor, you have demonstrated an authoritarian leadership style that actively retaliates against anyone who questions your authority and disregards institutional standards. According to the claims brought by former workers, the leader used her position to punish people who did not share her goals rather than promoting a fair and equitable workplace. These legal issues further complicate Henyard's, which is already complicated. A growing body of evidence points to a pattern of misbehavior in the troubled administration that goes beyond Freeman's purported awareness of her activities. Since Freeman's continuous involvement in the government is a thorn in the side, his role in this developing drama is especially noteworthy. The ongoing allegations that Freeman cooperated with federal investigators only serve to heighten the tension and feed conjecture that his dismissal from office may have been more motivated by shielding Henyard from possible exposure than by his performance on the job. Given that Freeman had information against Henyard, this might be a pivotal moment in the Henyard's power battle with Freeman underscores the increasingly insecure nature of her leadership, despite her attempts to sideline the board and unilaterally impose conditions. The probe raises suspicions of deep scandals that may still surface. Henyard is facing growing opposition on several fronts. Freeman's perseverance and potential federal cooperation, along with the board's opposition to her plans, indicate a change in the balance of power within Dalton's administration. Her recent actions, such as her dubious appointment of important individuals without board approval, have only served to further distance her from those who may have previously supported her. Reinforce the image of a leader losing control and turning to more desperate means to keep a semblance of authority at a recent public meeting. Instead of letting the board's rejection of her appointments affect her, Henyard took to the stage and dramatically blamed the controversy on a massive propaganda operation that was intended to destroy her reputation. She claimed that this was all part of a smear campaign to damage her name, but despite her vehement defense, it was evident that the people of Dalton were becoming tired of her antics. One brave audience member bravely spoke out, saying, "This isn't a question. This is me making mine." The door is open if you don't want to hear this remark, which concerns your supermayor's rapid ascent to power. Henyard, on the other hand, was unfazed and reflectively responded to the criticism, saying that her actions were misinterpreted and that the criticism was part of a larger conspiracy against her. She said that because I'm so unique and different, everyone has problems with me, but I'm doing what's best for the town, so that's why. Although Henyard's response was full of defiance, it also demonstrated the widening gap between her and the people she professed to champion. Because of Hannon's increasingly unpredictable behavior, the fallout has not, with her tense relationship with the Board of Trustees and Freeman. A number of controversies are currently surfacing in the legal drama surrounding her administration, and one of the most well-known of these concerns Hannon's misappropriation of public monies. In just 5 months, Henyard is accused of egregiously embezzling money, including an astounding $67,000 in travel expenses for herself and her entourage when additional fees she allegedly charged taxpayers are taken into account, increases to more than $100,000. The amount of money this lab is spending on travel and other costs has drawn criticism and caused many to doubt her ethics and judgment. Some people think that Hen's expensive spending may be an attempt to achieve this goal. She recently engaged a criminal lawyer to represent the town, which many believe is an attempt to protect herself from the increasing legal pressure. It has been stated that the village will pay the lawyer's legal fees. Henyard has attempted to divert attention from the accusations by asserting that her actions have been misinterpreted and that she has actually cleaned up the town. "We cleaned up the village when we took over Henyard," further stoking suspicions that she is attempting to negotiate her way out of the growing scandal surrounding her by doing this. Declared that the improvements in Dalton were due to her leadership, but her claims have been viewed with skepticism by SC as residents continue to struggle with illegal battles, questionable spending, and growing discontent within the administration. In addition to the lawsuits filed by former employees, the legal challenges and controversies surrounding Henyard's leadership have piled up at an alarming rate. The Henyard administration has been charged with favoring local companies, retaliating against workers, and engaging in unethical behavior. For instance, a local barbershop owner claimed that the administration had locked his business license for unknown reasons. The impact of Han's autocratic leadership has been felt by many. In addition to the growing list of laid-off employees, there are growing allegations that Han's administration has targeted people who pose a political threat to her as her control over Dalton and Thorne Township. In another case, a former maintenance manager named Dwayne Thrash disclosed that Han's inner circle had attempted to enlist him in a shady plot to replace the school board's attorney with one of their own favorites. When Thrash refused, he was promptly fired. Still deteriorating in a startling turn of events, Henyard faces mounting opposition from within her own ranks. She also suffered a major setback from an unexpected source. Carmen Cho, a trustee on the Thornton Township Board, who had once been seen as one of Henyard's supporters, came out against Henyard, accusing her of acting unethically and predatory in her pursuit of greater authority. "I think she has been predatory and unethical over the past 2 years," Cizio said, reflecting the rising dissatisfaction inside Hen's circle of sympathizers. "She has used residents, merchants, and staff to gain more power while putting on a false front of success that was paid for by taxpayers." The claims only served to exacerbate the situation, as the Hen's administration was already facing criticism for alleged fraud, malfeasance, and misappropriation of public monies. Hi's leadership, which some have hailed as strong and decisive, appears to be collapsing under the weight of legal battles. Cho acknowledged that she had been silent for too long, but that she could no longer stand by while Henyard's actions continue to harm the community. "I'm speaking up for myself and those impacted by Henyard's leadership," Carzo explained. "I believe there are many more victims who have been retaliated against, but haven't spoken out yet. Accusations of corruption and public decline, both supporters and detractors." Watching the show unfold, many people are guessing that Hen's collapse is coming. Some have even compared it to a train accident, expecting that she will soon be charged with her crimes. Due to her defiance of growing opposition, many are questioning how long she can continue to hold on to power in the face of growing lawsuits. Investigations by the federal government and her own declining status, it looks like Hen's tenure in office is ending quickly. One thing is certain, Tiffany Henyard's walls are closing in, and it might only be a matter of time before the inevitable occurs or whether she can weather the storm. It will not be long before her stint as mayor comes to an end. Until we meet again, thanks for watching Visual Vortex.